The rain hammered against the corrugated iron roof of the warehouse, each drop a frantic drumbeat against the silence. Jack Rourke wiped the condensation from his fedora, the taste of stale whiskey bitter on his tongue. Silas Thorne stood across from him, a silhouette against the gloom, the scent of expensive cigars clinging to the air. "You're poking around where you don't belong, Rourke." Thorne's voice was a low rumble, laced with an underlying menace. "Arthur Holloway's disappearance is a private matter. Private enough to disappear without a trace, Thorne. Sounds like a public spectacle to me." Rourke countered, his hand instinctively hovering near the .38 nestled in his shoulder holster. The bruises around Holloway's eyes were a stark testament to the private matter Thorne spoke of. Holloway had been cooperative, albeit terrified, during their brief interview. Holloway made some unwise financial decisions, Thorne continued, ignoring Rourke's jab. He owed certain people a considerable sum, people who don't appreciate delays. "And you're one of those people?" Rourke pressed. Thorne chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. "I simply want what's owed. It's a straightforward transaction. Holloway couldn't deliver. Now he's gone. A regrettable situation, but hardly my concern." "The diamonds," Rourke stated, cutting through Thorne's evasions. "They were the collateral, weren't they? Holloway couldn't pay, so you took them." Thorne's eyes narrowed, the shadows deepening on his face. "You're reaching, Rourke. Conjecture. You're starting to irritate me." A greasy voice slithered from the shadows near the loading dock. "Mr. Thorne, I believe Mr. Rourke is onto something." Frankie Fingers Falcon, dripping with nervous perspiration, wrung his hands. "I overheard a conversation about the **** diamonds. Thorne was talking about repossessing them. Said Holloway was holding on to the wrong things." Thorne's gaze flickered to Falcon, a silent reprimand. "You're a viper, Falcon. Always slithering into places you don't belong." He turned back to Rourke. "You're spreading rumors, Rourke. Dangerous rumors." "So the *** were * the collateral?" Rourke challenged, his voice hardening. Thorne sighed, a theatrical display of exasperation. "Very well. The diamonds were a guarantee. Holloway was unable to fulfill his end of the bargain." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "But you're wasting your time looking for him. He's unavailable." Rourke's gaze drifted to the heavy steel door leading out to the docks. A muffled sob escaped from within. "He's not dead, is he?" Thorne smirked. "Let's just say he's indisposed. And as for you, Rourke, I suggest you drop this matter. It's not worth your trouble. I have ways of making things unpleasant." Suddenly, a woman's voice, sharp and defiant, cut through the tension. "He's lying, Rourke." Vivian Holloway stepped from the shadows, her face pale but her eyes burning with an unsettling intensity. "Silas has him locked up at his estate. He's going to sell the diamonds, and Arthur will disappear completely." Thorne's face twisted in anger. "Vivian, what are you doing? You were supposed to stay out of this." "I'm tired of his games," Vivian spat. "Arthur deserves a chance, and I deserve to be free of both of you." She moved closer to Rourke, her voice dropping to a whisper. "There's a hidden passage behind the library. It leads to the estate's tunnels. Go now, before he changes his mind about you both." Rourke glanced at Thorne, whose face was a mask of fury. He could sense the impending violence. "Thank you, Mrs. Holloway," he said, already calculating his next move. He didn't wait for Thorne to react. With a nod to Vivian, Rourke dashed towards the indicated passage, the rain-soaked docks beckoning. He heard Thorne's enraged roar as he disappeared into the darkness, a promise of retribution hanging in the damp air. As Rourke navigated the narrow, damp tunnel, the image of Vivian Holloway's defiant gaze burned into his mind. He didn't trust her, not entirely, but she had given him a lead, a chance to fight Arthur Holloway and expose Silas Thorne's ruthless machinations. The tunnels led him through a labyrinth of passages, the air thick with the smell of mildew and decay. He could hear the faint sounds of activity ahead, voices, the clinking of glasses, the murmur of conversation. He was getting closer. Suddenly, he heard a crash behind him, followed by a muffled curse. Someone was following him. He drew his .38, his senses heightened, his every nerve on alert. He rounded a corner and found himself in a grand, opulent library, the walls lined with ancient tomes. In the center of the room, a man in a dark suit lay sprawled on the floor, a single gunshot wound in his chest. Beside him lay a discarded .38, the same caliber as Rourke's. Standing over the body was Vivian Holloway, her face a mask of cold detachment. "I needed a distraction," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "You were quite useful, Mr. Rourke." Rourke stared at her, his mind reeling. He had been played, a pawn in a deadly game orchestrated by the very woman he had been trying to help. The image of Silas Thorne's looming presence flashed in his mind. Had she been working with Thorne all along? Or was there another layer to this deception he hadn't even begun to fathom? Why? he managed to ask, his voice hoarse. Vivian smiled, a slow, unsettling curve of her lips. Because, Mr. Rourke, some debts are too great to be repaid with money. Some secrets are worth killing for. She turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving Rourke standing alone amidst the silent grandeur of the library, the weight of betrayal heavy on his soul. The rain continued to fall outside, a mournful symphony for a case far from over,